Every time I confessed to the school's queen bee, she'd send me a gift card. The first time it was for $3,500, the second for $700, the third for $1,400, and then she'd coldly reject me. I thought she was just using the money to brush off a lovesick fool like me. Then, one day, I found her phone and discovered 999 pictures of me she had snapped secretly. She even had me saved as my boo in her contacts. Turns out, Ashley had been crushing on me all along, but she was secretly enjoying the chase. Knowing the truth, I called my parents, and they agreed I could study abroad. The girl I liked actually liked me back, but in that moment, I didn't feel happy, just angry and helpless. For the past 2 years, I had given up everything to be near her, sacrificing my self-respect and enduring my friends' ridicule. I brought her breakfast every day, and I was always the first to show up with an umbrella when it rained. But my sincerity was never reciprocated. I cried myself to sleep countless nights, only to get up the next day and chase after her again. I even almost gave up a coveted student exchange scholarship just to stay close to her. The conversation in the dorm wasn't over. Ashley's voice floated out, "He likes me, he's not going anywhere. I'll agree to go out with him the next time he asks her." Casual, confident tone made me laugh. There wouldn't be a next time. Now, I just wanted to leave, to disappear completely from her world. The moment I pushed the door open, the chatter in the room stopped abruptly. Everyone turned away, pretending not to see me, and started talking about other things. Ashley grabbed a drink and joined a game on the table, her face expressionless, not even glancing at me. I scanned her quickly, and I couldn't help but think her acting was perfect. Ignoring their dismissive behavior, I walked to an empty spot in the corner of the room and sat down. For the next hour, everyone else chatted and laughed, while I sat alone, scrolling through my phone, as if I were invisible. Before, the second Ashley showed up, I would have found a way to get closer, to start a conversation, anything to get her attention. I had pulled a ton of strings and been extra pushy to get invited to this birthday party. You'd think I would treasure this moment, but it felt hollow. Yet she did not acknowledge my presence. This unusual attitude must have made Ashley a bit uneasy. She glanced at me a few times. After the birthday song and cutting the cake, came the gift-giving. I waited until everyone else had given their presents, then slowly stood up and took a calendar out of my pocket. Everyone stared at me in surprise, because the calendar was small enough to fit in my palm and only had 30 pages, looking very simple. I didn't care about the expressions on their faces. I just looked at Ashley and said softly, "Ashley, starting today, tear off 1 page every day. When you tear off the last page, there will be a surprise. That's the belated birthday present I have for you." Hearing this, her friends started to laugh and tease, her 100th confession. "You're so persistent. It's been 2 years, and you're still trying? You really like Ashley that much?" Influenced by these words, Ashley also assumed it was a countdown calendar for my 100th confession. The corner of her mouth lifted slightly, but quickly returned to her emotionless facade. "I only said I would consider it if you confessed 100 times, not that I would definitely say yes." I knew they all misunderstood. The last page wouldn't be the day I confessed, but the day I disappeared completely from her world. I didn't explain, just smiled. "Ashley, I've been chasing you for so long, and you still haven't been moved. I really want to know, what is your ideal type?" As soon as I finished speaking, the room went silent. Everyone looked at her with puzzled eyes. Ashley stared at me, and after a few seconds of silence, she opened her lips slightly. "My ideal type is..." Just then, the door was pushed open, instantly drawing everyone's attention. There stood Josh, holding an exquisitely wrapped box, smiling gently at Ashley. "Happy birthday, Ashley." Ashley's gaze followed his blessing and fell on Josh. She tapped her fingers on the table and continued the sentence that had been interrupted. "My ideal type is, of course, the boy next door type, with an outgoing personality and a bright appearance." Having just walked in, Josh blushed at the ambiguous statement and happily went over to her, handing her the gift he had carefully prepared, urging her to open it right there. Everyone's attention quickly shifted, and no one mentioned the previous topic again. Watching them surrounded by people, I didn't feel any pain. Instead, I calmly returned to my seat. For the rest of the evening, wherever Ashley went, Josh followed. They talked and laughed, supporting each other, sharing a piece of cake. I silently watched their intimate image, and many memories flashed in my mind. Even though she was the school's queen bee, with many admirers, Ashley always kept her distance from boys. The only exception was Josh, her childhood friend who grew up with her. He would help her fix her messy bangs, go to class with her, and bring her water during basketball breaks. Those biased actions hit me like knives stabbing my heart. But only after knowing the harsh truth did I learn that even though they were childhood friends, Ashley and Josh hadn't always been close. Josh constantly followed Ashley, but she never paid attention until I showed up. Only then did she deliberately, very deliberately, show affection for Josh in front of me, just to make me jealous, to give me more motivation to pursue her. So, when I saw Ashley act out this scene in front of me, I just felt ridiculous. I put down my drink and got up to go to the bathroom, splashing water on my face to sober up. I took a paper towel to wipe the drops of water from my face. My vision blurred, and I didn't realize someone had suddenly appeared next to me, until I heard Josh's sarcastic tone. "Ethan, how many years have you been chasing Ashley? She still doesn't like you. Why are you still shamelessly coming to her birthday party? Please, she doesn't like you, can you stop deluding yourself, you cheap creep who follows other people around?" Josh had a scholarly appearance, but his words were so vulgar. I didn't show any annoyance at his words, just calmly looked at him. "Are you done?" Josh didn't expect me to react so calmly, and was a little stunned. But he didn't want to lose face, so he glared at me. "Of course not. Do you know what people at school say about you? Loser stalker who confesses 99 times. Are you even a student? Why are you so embarrassing? Everyone can clearly see that Ashley likes me, why can't you open your dog eyes and see?" He seemed like he wanted to hit me. I still didn't flinch, just shifted my gaze from him to behind him, reminding him. "Before you yell at people, you should look behind you." Josh turned his head in confusion and saw Ashley standing outside the door. She had been standing there for who knows how long, and had definitely witnessed everything that had just happened. Thinking about this, Josh immediately panicked, quickly returning to his scholarly appearance, without a trace of arrogance. He hurriedly ran to Ashley's side, grabbed her hand, and hastily explained, "Ashley, it's not what you think. Ethan was yelling at me first." But Ashley didn't seem to care. She clearly witnessed Josh insulting me, but acted as if she didn't see anything. She looked up at me, then turned to grab Josh's hand, her voice gentle. "I believe you. Let's go back." After saying this, she took Josh's hand and returned to the party room. Josh didn't expect her to have such an attitude, seemingly not caring that he had yelled at me, so he turned back triumphantly, giving me a mocking smile, laughing at my stupidity. I lowered my head, turned, and walked down the stairs. The quiet hallway only had the sound of my footsteps. In the darkness, I recalled the events that had just happened and laughed coldly. When she grabbed Josh's hand, her eyes clearly looked towards me. Saying words of concern to Josh, her acting was really too good. If I didn't know her hidden intentions, I might have been hurt for a long time. Things like tonight weren't actually the first time. In the past few years, to pursue her, I had given up all my pride and arrogance. Even if others ridiculed or even yelled at me in front of me, I didn't care. I just wanted to focus on myself, achieve what I wanted, and not have any regrets. So, I persisted in confessing 99 times. But the person I liked for 2 years was only ignoring those criticisms to enjoy my pursuit, hurting me even more than 1,000 insults. Right now, it was raining heavily outside. Almost all the taxis were stopped, and people were stuck at the entrance of the bar. Ashley called her personal driver to take Josh home. Josh immediately revealed an expression of triumph, glancing sideways at me and saying in a deliberately provocative tone, "It's so late, and everyone has gone home. Only Ethan is standing here alone, waiting for a car." That's not good, is it? Ashley took an umbrella from her driver, her voice even. He has feet. After saying this, she didn't look at me, and led Josh into the car. Watching the sports car gradually disappear in the rain, I didn't care, and continued to call a car on the app. After waiting in the freezing wind for more than 2 hours, a driver finally accepted the order. By the time I got home, it was 2 a.m. I brushed off the raindrops clinging to my coat and slowly walked to the door. I entered the door code. As soon as it opened, the opposite door also opened. Ashley, with a cold face, stepped out, her eyes without a trace of warmth. Come home earlier next time. The sound of the door opening is too loud and affects my sleep. Looking at the clothes she hadn't changed, I understood something, and mumbled something to gloss over it, turned around, entered the room, turned on the lights, and closed the door. After I finished changing my shoes, a very loud noise came from outside. I didn't care, took off my coat, turned on the air conditioning, and curled up in a blanket on the sofa. I bought this apartment 6 months ago after hearing someone say Ashley was moving out of the dorms. In order to pursue her, I also moved out and became her neighbor. In the morning, I would bring her breakfast, and in the evening, I would wish her good night, constantly creating all kinds of coincidental encounters, just to move her. But no matter how much I cared, she would ignore me, rarely responding. It wasn't until I discovered her secret that I realized she had always been pretending not to care. Just like tonight, she had clearly come home long ago and hadn't even changed her clothes. It was because she was worried about my safety that she hadn't slept yet. But when she met me, she deliberately said meaningless words. I was too tired of this fake act and didn't want to play along with her anymore. I opened my phone, went to the real estate app, and posted the information to sell the apartment. If I was going to leave, I had to be decisive. The next morning, a real estate agent came to see the apartment. I groggily woke up, opened the door, and briefly introduced the condition of the apartment. After they finished looking, I was about to send them away when the opposite door opened. Ashley, holding her car keys, was about to go out. Seeing the strange woman next to me, her eyebrows furrowed. Who is she? She's my sister, coming to bring me something, I said casually. The real estate agent next to me looked at me in surprise, but she was very professional and didn't expose my lie, just found an excuse and left. I went back to the room to change my clothes, planning to go to school. As soon as I left the room, I saw someone standing in front of the elevator door. Turning my head, I saw Ashley, and couldn't help but wonder. She was going out just now, so why was she still here? Ashley looked at my puzzled expression and said a little awkwardly, I'll take you to school today. I didn't understand why she was so unusual today, so I shook my head and refused. But she was like a mad person, insisting on taking me, and even made up all sorts of reasons, like I was going to be late for school or it was on her way. Seeing that she was about to even use the excuse of protecting the environment, I had no choice but to give in, not wanting to waste more time, and agreed. On the way, we didn't say a word to each other. The silence in the car was strange. Used to hearing me talk nonstop, Ashley felt very uncomfortable seeing me so silent, and felt a little flustered. It seemed that I really had changed in the past few days, and these changes made her start to worry. Arriving at school, I said thank you and quickly got out. I walked quickly into the school gate, but found that everyone passing by was looking at me with strange eyes, whispering and discussing. Is that Ethan? He's the one? That's right, he's the one from the trending post, so embarrassing. Hearing these incomprehensible words, I quickly opened my phone, immediately seeing several friends sending me links. I clicked on them and found that someone had posted the story of my pursuit of Ashley on the forum, and it had even become a trending topic. Seeing the phrase obsessive lovesick guy stalking at Stanford, I was stunned. The most popular post in the topic had summarized the entire process of my pursuit of Ashley, writing in great detail, even revealing the contents of my love letters. From afar, I saw a lot of people gathering in front of the school bulletin board, which was covered with the love letters I had written. The crowd was laughing and pointing, using the phrase using your life to immerse yourself in her eyes, so corny. 99 love letters with all kinds of different styles. This kind of love-crazed person is so scary. Isn't it said that he is the most talented guy at Stanford? How could he be stalking someone like this? Hearing the merciless ridicule, I angrily rushed into the crowd, tearing down the letters one by one. Tearing down the last letter, I heard Josh's voice. Ashley, Ethan has confessed to you so many times. Do you have any feelings for him? Ashley's voice was still as cold as ever, only saying one word, no. Seeing that the two main characters were both present at the scene, and I was being humiliated right there, the laughter in the crowd became even more cheerful and arrogant. Some troublemakers deliberately provoked me. Ethan, you confessed 99 times and only got a 0, should you continue to try? When are you planning to start the next confession? We'll come and help you with suggestions. I clenched the shattered pieces of love letters in my hand, wanting to say something, but looking at the curious eyes around me, I held back. I smiled faintly, raised the pieces of love letters in my hand, as if waving a banner of victory, and loudly announced, the 100th confession at the school's central square, 9 a.m. on December 3rd, welcome all students and friends to come and watch. After saying this, I didn't care about the reactions of the people around me, gritted my teeth, and left the scene with my head held high. That morning, I didn't go to class, but went home, turned on the faucet, filled a basin with water, and without hesitation, buried my head in the water. Until my chest felt suffocated, I propped my hands on the edge of the basin, stood up, gasping for breath. My head, which was dizzy with anger, also became clear. I looked at the face in the mirror, torn up the thick stack of love letters, burned them to ashes, and flushed them all down the drain. On the weekend, the Long Silent Club suddenly sent a message saying they wanted to gather. I was planning to submit an application to withdraw from the club, so I went there. As a result, as soon as I pushed the door open, I saw Ashley, who had never participated in these activities, was also present. I acted as if I didn't see her and sat down in the corner of the room alone. As soon as they saw me, Josh's friends started acting. Why did Ashley agree to come here? Of course, it's because Josh likes the excitement. Who doesn't know that the school queen only listens to Josh? I was too lazy to pay attention to their antics, and peeled a few oranges to eat. After everyone had arrived, the club president announced the start of the game. I wasn't very interested, but was pulled into the game and had to try to participate in the games. This boring challenge went on for 7 or 8 rounds until finally, it was Ashley's turn to lose. Everyone cheered excitedly. Oh ho, our school beauty drew the card to kiss any opposite-sex person for 3 minutes. Quick, Ashley, who do you choose to share the punishment with? I knew she wouldn't choose me, and I didn't care who she chose. I lowered my head, playing with the dice in my hand. And just as I predicted, Ashley chose Josh but made a request to turn off all the lights in the room. The room plunged into darkness, and I could only hear the breathing and whispers of the club members. 3 minutes later, the lights came on. Ashley sat down, while Josh stood there dumbfounded, his expression not very good. Ashley hadn't kissed him. I glanced at him. Hearing the club president say to start a new round, I casually tossed the 3 dice in my hand. Unexpectedly, all 3 were 1, the lowest score. Without saying anything, I drew a card from the deck, which was the exact same punishment card as before. Immediately, the expressions of everyone in the room became excited, their eyes darting back and forth between me, Ashley, and Josh. Ignoring them, I casually spun the game wheel. The pointer landed on a freshman girl across from me. Everyone thought I would go back on my word, holding their breath and waiting. But I calmly stood up and walked straight to the freshman girl, my voice indifferent. Sorry to bother you, miss. The freshman girl was stunned, about to stand up, when Ashley suddenly stood up and knocked over a chair before anyone could understand what was happening. She said coldly, I'm tired of playing, I'm a little tired, let's take a break. Now she had spoken, and her friends echoed in support. The club president had no choice but to announce a temporary break. A few girls said they were a little hungry, and their friends pulled the boys downstairs to buy food, disappearing for 20 minutes. Seeing that everyone wasn't coming back, the club president didn't want to wait any longer and announced the continuation of the game. I put down my phone and looked around, only to find that the freshman girl had disappeared, or rather, that all the girls except Ashley had disappeared. I didn't need to guess to know that this was another intentional arrangement by Ashley. But I didn't want to be involved with her anymore, so I picked up the 500 milliliters glass of wine in front of me and raised it as a signal to everyone. The person I chose is gone, so according to the rules, I'll drink this glass of wine to complete the punishment. After saying this, I tilted my head back and drank the entire glass without changing my expression. Ashley didn't expect that I wouldn't choose her even when drinking, and her expression immediately turned cold. She glared at my flushed face, clenching the dice in her hand, making a cracking sound. With half the people missing, the game was no longer fun. The gathering ended just like that. I excused myself and waited until everyone had left before submitting my application to withdraw from the club to the president. Holding onto the wall, I started to go downstairs. As I reached the stairs, I vaguely saw Josh in the distance and intended to pretend not to see him to avoid him, but he grabbed my hand. His eyes were full of anger. "Just now, what was the meaning of the way you were looking at me after the lights came on?" He said, "I'm telling you, there's a reason why Ashley didn't kiss me." That was the true expression of her feelings for me. I almost burst out laughing, but I knew that Josh wouldn't listen to anything I said at this moment, so I nodded. You're right about everything." After saying this, I intended to pull my hand away to leave, but Josh held on even tighter, cursing nonstop. We struggled with each other. I was already unsteady, and he pulled me hard, losing my balance and falling backward, tumbling down the stairs. Josh was startled and also lost his footing, falling with me. Hearing the noise from upstairs, the friends who hadn't gone far quickly turned back to check the situation. Seeing that both of us were injured quite badly, everyone panicked. Finally, Ashley contacted them and brought both of us to her family's hospital. After the examination, the doctor said it was a fracture. If not treated in time, it could lead to disability. From the moment she found out that both of us were injured, her eyes never left me, looking at my pale face and the drops of sweat constantly rolling down my forehead. She seemed to feel my pain, and her heart clenched. The operating room was ready, but at this moment, the hospital only had one expert who could perform this surgery. Ashley had to decide who to operate on first. She instinctively looked at me, just in time to meet my eyes. In those eyes, there was no longer the infatuation and passion as before, only the stillness of a dead lake. This gaze made Ashley's heart tremble. "Nurse, quickly decide who to operate on first." I lay on the stretcher, my face pale. Right before I fainted, I heard Ashley say clearly the name, "Josh, save Josh first." Very quickly, the doctors pushed Josh into the operating room. The door closing was also the moment I completely fainted. When I woke up again, it was a day later. I opened my eyes, and the first thing I did was reach out and touch my legs. Feeling that my legs were still there and still had feeling, I breathed a sigh of relief, and tears fell. Fortunately, I wasn't crippled. My parents received the news and rushed over, transferring me to a VIP ward on the top floor, taking care of me with great care. 2 hours later, Josh was transferred to the ward opposite me. Ashley personally helped him in, to make it easier to monitor him. The doors of both wards were open. I could clearly know the situation on the other side of the ward. Josh constantly complained of pain. Ashley found all sorts of topics to distract his attention. The hospital food didn't suit his taste. Ashley personally cooked many light dishes and brought them to him. Seeing that he was bored in the hospital, Ashley found all sorts of new and interesting things to entertain him. During the days in the hospital, the two of them were so intimate that even the nurses gossiped, speculating whether the hospital director was about to have a daughter-in-law. I quietly listened, not interfering, but in my heart, I understood clearly that Ashley was doing all these things just for me to see. After all, the door of this ward, I had closed it hundreds of times, but every time I closed it, a nurse would come to check the room. The probability of opening the door was 100%, it couldn't possibly be a coincidence. Right before I was discharged from the hospital, I met them again in the parking lot in the basement. As soon as she saw me come over, Ashley helped Josh, who was sitting in a wheelchair, into the car. Through the car window, Josh poked his head out and gave me a fake smile. "Ethan, I heard you live right across from Ashley's house. It's on our way, so we'll give you a ride, okay?" I didn't want to pay attention to him, didn't even bother to look up, and directly got into the car. When the car arrived at the apartment building, I refused my parents' help and went home by myself, supporting myself with the crutches. The elevator went from the basement to the 17th floor. Ashley, who had originally intended to drive Josh home, suddenly stepped in. We looked at each other, but neither of us said anything. The elevator stopped on the 17th floor. Ashley stood in front of the door for a long time, not stepping out, so I had no choice but to go around her to go outside. I was walking slowly, but the person behind me was walking even slower. I could feel her eyes always following me. Reaching the door, I was about to enter the code when the crutches in my hand suddenly fell to the ground. I had no choice but to lean against the wall and slowly sit down. Just as I reached for the crutches, a figure suddenly appeared in front of me. Ashley also sat down, probably intending to help me pick them up, but when she met my eyes, she pulled her hand back and bent down to tie her loose shoelaces. I smiled faintly, picked up the crutches, slowly stood up, and entered the room. After resting at home for a while, before I knew it, it was time for the final exams. Although I was about to study abroad, my legs could walk again, so I didn't apply for a postponement of the exam and still participated in the exam. The tiered classroom had too many steps, and my legs hadn't fully recovered, so I sat in the first row in the middle of the room. After a while, Ashley helped Josh enter. As soon as he saw me, Josh complained that his legs hurt and demanded to sit in the first row. Ashley then helped him to sit next to me, while she sat in the seat next to the wall. The exam quickly began. Josh waited for the teacher to turn away, took advantage of the last step down the stairs, and threw a piece of paper he had prepared onto my desk across the aisle. My hand holding the pen froze, and before I could understand what was happening, I was scolded by the teacher who had turned around. Before the exam, I emphasized many times that you can get a bad score, but you can't cheat. Yet you deliberately violated this. "Ethan, your exam is cancelled." At this point, I understood Josh's intentions, but I didn't want to suffer this loss, so I stood up and demanded to check the surveillance cameras. Unfortunately, due to a power outage in the lecture hall in the morning, the cameras in the classroom hadn't been turned on in time. Seeing Josh's triumphant expression, I really couldn't swallow this anger. Ashley was sitting right next to Josh, she had seen everything. The teacher also didn't want to wrong anyone, so he invited Ashley to speak. The lecture halls at Stanford were invested in by the Stone family. Ashley didn't need to flatter anyone, and she was upright and cold, so her words always had weight in the eyes of teachers and students. After listening to the whole story, Ashley looked at me and said indifferently, "The person cheating wasn't Josh." The moment she said that, she almost immediately convicted me. Teacher Jones immediately believed her words and looked at me coldly. "Ethan, what else do you have to say for yourself? Not only did you cheat, but you also framed a classmate. You're really stubborn. Were all your previous scores copied too? No matter what, this time I will definitely report this to the entire school and issue a criticism." I stood there, feeling like I was falling into an abyss. I thought that in matters of principle, Ashley would uphold her position, so I mentioned her name. But I didn't expect that she would protect Josh and give false testimony, having witnessed everything with her own eyes. Now, explaining further was useless. I gave Ashley a deep look, then quietly left. Seeing my eyes, Ashley suddenly panicked, instinctively chasing after me, blocking my way. "Ethan, I know Josh was wrong in this matter, but he's self-conscious and sensitive. I didn't want him to be talked about by others." She didn't say a word of apology, only worried about explaining for Josh. I began to doubt whether the photos I had seen that day were a dream. I smiled bitterly at her, my voice trembling with anger. "So, that's why you helped him frame me?" He can't stand being talked about, but I can. Ashley, you think that after confessing to you 99 times, my face is as thick as a wall and I've become so strong that I'm not afraid of any gossip, right? Seeing my appearance, Ashley's left eyelid twitched. She grabbed my hand. I didn't mean that, it was just a test. You can still make up the credits later. I'll find a way to make it up to you in the future. Make it up to me? You don't even like me, how are you going to make it up to me? My sarcastic tone startled Ashley, almost causing her to blurt out the words in her heart. Before I could say it, she realized she had misspoke and quickly stopped. Believe me, by the 100th confession, I'll make it up to you. Ashley was just short of saying directly that she would definitely agree to be with me. The previous Ashley would never have revealed so many flaws. Now, it was only because she was forced by the situation. I had completely lost hope, shook off her hand, lowered my head and said, then tear off the calendar properly and wait until the last day. Seeing me pull my hand back, Ashley also calmed down, her voice gentler. Okay, there are 3 days left. I will definitely give you a satisfactory answer. 3 days before leaving, the apartment that had been for sale for half a month was finally sold. The real estate agent brought the contract, and I quickly signed it. 3 days later, I would move out. These few days, I would clean up all the things in the house so that the new tenants could move in. After the real estate agent recorded the date, I sent her out. As the elevator doors opened, Ashley came out carrying 2 bags of things. She looked at the real estate agent for a moment, then politely greeted her. The real estate agent responded blankly. After the elevator went down, I turned around, intending to leave, when Ashley called me back, handing me a bag of things. I bought too much when I passed by, I can't finish it all, you take some and try it. I glanced at it and saw that it was the sponge cake that I liked the most. This store was located in the east of the city, and it took more than 2 hours to go back and forth, and I had to wait in line for more than an hour to buy it. She deliberately went to buy the things I liked and then found an excuse to bring them over, definitely wanting to apologize for yesterday. But I didn't need her apology anymore. Without saying anything, I took the bag. When I got home, I casually threw it into the trash can. The bag containing the sponge cake drew a parabola in the air and fell into the trash can. 2 days before leaving, I went to a printing shop and spent a few thousand to print 10,000 small cards about the size of a fingertip. I went back to the dormitory and asked a few of my roommates to help me climb to the rooftop of the composite building on the 3rd and release these cards to the square. My roommates also knew about what had happened recently. Seeing that I still hadn't given up, they advised me, Ethan, just give up. Ashley has treated you like this, why are you still making yourself suffer? That's right, she's too much, she's not worth your feelings. Although I had thought it through, hearing my friends care about me like this, a trace of warmth still rose in my heart. I shook my head. Relax, I know what I'm doing. Just help me release them, I've hired a cleaning company to clean up. I'm not planning to confess anymore, what I really want to do is say goodbye. Hearing this, my roommates all looked at each other blankly, not guessing what I was planning to do. I added, thank you, then turned and left. Watching my figure gradually disappear, my roommates opened the box and took out a card. On it was written only one sentence, I will never like Ashley again. 1 day before leaving, I went to the school to complete the procedures, then returned home and began to pack my luggage. I had only moved here for half a year, and there weren't many things, but most of them were related to Ashley. I found a few boxes and put all those things in them. The moment I threw the boxes into the trash, everything between Ashley and me would become the past. In the end, only 2 sets of clothes were left in the house, the shirt and baggy black jeans that she wore the day the 2 of us first met. I lit the matches and burned the clothes to ash. Light smoke rose, and before long, there was only a pile of ashes left on the ground. I stood up and turned around, only to see Ashley standing in the distance, looking at me with a surprised expression. I'm cleaning up some unnecessary trash, I said indifferently, then turned and went upstairs. That day, just as it was getting light, I was awakened by the noise from the room across the hall. I groggily opened my eyes, picked up my phone, and checked the time, only to see a notification of messages in a group of more than 20 people jumping constantly. It took me a while to realize that all the messages were from a group chat I had entered a year ago to learn about Ashley's hobbies and had forgotten to leave. Ashley didn't know I was in it, and the people who were chatting excitedly from early morning were Ashley's roommates. Ashley woke up so early, could it be because she was too excited and stayed up all night? Nonsense, she started preparing last night from 11 p.m. This time, she's really planning to agree to Ethan's confession? Reading this, my hand stopped. It was rare to see Ashley send such a long message. It's not agreeing to me, Ethan, and I are already mutually attracted to each other, so getting together is a natural thing. Don't ask any more. Quickly help me see which outfit I should wear today, this one or this one? Seeing the dozens of clothing photos she sent, the group immediately erupted with excitement. Oh my god, so meticulously prepared. Is this still my aloof goddess? Ashley, this is the first time I've seen you care about this kind of thing so much. Do you like Ethan that much? Amidst the exclamations, Ashley only replied with one word, barely seeing the words, I want to be with him forever, for the rest of my life. I couldn't help but laugh. I leaned against the headboard and looked out the window, seeing the sky getting brighter and brighter. So many memories flooded my mind. But all I felt towards these words was a sense of irony and amusement, like an O. Henry ending. She liked me, so she rejected my 99 confessions, letting me become a laughingstock. She liked me, so she treated me coldly, deliberately flirting with other guys to provoke me. She liked me, so she twisted the truth, framing me and trampling on my sincerity. If this was how she liked me, I really couldn't handle it, and I didn't dare to accept it. The messages in the group chat kept pouring in. My roommates sent photos taken at the scene. It was barely 7 a.m., and the square was already packed, with people from both inside and outside the school, teachers and students. Some were even selling bottled water, soft drinks, and grilled sausages. There are too many people, they're all here to see your 100th confession, Ashley. Hurry up and get here. Don't let the female lead be late for the start of the confession. Seeing this excitement truly does speak to human nature. I was about to leave the group when I saw a message Ashley just sent, I'm getting ready to head out. What about you? I'm about to head out too, but to leave, not to join you. I wanted to see her expression when she saw the cards being released into the square, and how she would feel knowing I was already abroad. But unfortunately, I wouldn't get to see it. From now on, everything about Ashley was no longer my concern. I slowly got up, changed my clothes, and went to the bathroom to wash my face. After doing everything, I took out the milk and bread from the microwave, eating and finishing packing. Now packed, the house was empty. I looked back at the empty room, then took out my phone and blocked all phone numbers and accounts related to Ashley. Having done all of this, I felt lighter than ever. Pulling my suitcase, I turned and left, heading towards a bright new life in another place. 5 minutes until 9 a.m. The square was teeming with people, packed like sardines. Even the security guards had to come to maintain order. Looking at the lively scene below, my roommates were all a bit overwhelmed, their voices full of excitement. With so many people, what happens later will definitely spread throughout the school quickly. That's the best outcome, so nobody will gossip behind Ethan's back after he's gone. Talking and laughing, they continued until 8:59 a.m. The club president received a message, I've arrived at the airport safely. Then he rolled up his sleeves and shouted, Ethan's here. Let's act quickly. People throwing, people taking pictures, be focused. We have to let him see it before he gets on the plane. As soon as he finished speaking, the 9 a.m. alarm rang. 2 guys divided, went on each side of the windows, tossing the cards that had already been prepared out the windows. The white cards rained down from the 16th floor rooftop, twirling as they flew to the ground. Someone yelled, it's snowing. Everyone looked up, and as the cards got closer, everyone stood on tiptoe, fighting to pick them up to see what was written on them. And in the center of the square, Ashley was also looking up. Her friends, seeing this spectacular scene, praised, "There must be 10,000 cards here, Ethan really put his heart into it." You have to consider Ashley's popularity. This grandiose gesture is what it means to declare ownership, to deter rivals. That's true. But what's written on these cards? His previous love letters were quite poetic. Could this be 100 handwritten love letters? Don't tell me his patience and endurance are really capable of that? Let's pick one up and take a look. Hearing her friends' admiring voices, Ashley's heart was also full of anticipation. She reached out to catch a card and smiled as she flipped it over. But seeing the words written on it, the smile on her face instantly froze. Her friends next to her were also curious and came closer to look. But seeing the words on the card, their eyes widened, stuttering, "No. No way. It must be a mistake. A mistake." While comforting her, they picked up the cards falling on the ground and showed them to Ashley. But the newly picked cards still had the exact same words printed on them: Ethan, will never like Ashley again. At this moment, everyone was truly panicking, hurriedly snatching the cards from the hands of the people around them. But after seeing the content, the horror in their hearts only increased. How can this be? Isn't it a confession? Why is it writing these things? Is someone deliberately sabotaging? While they were still finding reasons, the people around them had picked up a card each and shouted loudly, "Oh ho, Ethan will never like Ashley again." So it wasn't a confession? Luring everyone here just to make this clear? What a waste of effort publicizing it like this. Now the whole school knows. Great, without Ethan, nobody will stalk our school's queen bee anymore. Ashley's face gradually lost its color amidst the noisy discussions. She felt like something was stuck in her chest, making it hard to breathe. Her mind was devoid of thought. Her hands clenched the cards, her knuckles white from the force. Her chest heaved violently as she looked up at the rooftop where cards were still falling, her eyes filled with shock and fear. Thousands of people below the square were all standing on tiptoe, wanting to see her reaction. And she didn't disappoint them, throwing the cards in her hand onto the ground and striding into the composite building. The excited onlookers hurriedly chased after her. After throwing down the last of the cards, my roommates prepared to leave, but as they reached the door, they heard the noisy commotion below. The elevator wasn't coming up, so they went down the stairs. As they reached the 15th floor, they ran into Ashley. She brought a group of friends, blocking their way. A crowd followed after them. Facing the aggressive group of girls, my roommates didn't flinch. "Isn't this our school's queen bee? Weren't you saying that you looked down on Ethan? Why are you here to see the excitement too?" Hearing this sarcastic tone, Ashley clenched her fists, her face turning cold. "Did you guys release these without permission?" Hearing the words, "without permission," the three guys laughed. "How would we dare? Ethan spent the money to print them himself and worked hard to bring them to school. We were just free transporters at most." Hearing this, the students below began to whisper. "Doesn't Ashley dislike Ethan? Why is she still unwilling after he's given up? What do you know? In our novel world, this is called a cold queen being pulled down from the altar, and then chasing after him to the crematorium. In my opinion, if she regrets it now, she deserves to be embarrassed like this. Why didn't she give him a chance at his 99 attempts?" These speculations fell into Ashley's ears like sharp knives stabbing through the confidence she had maintained for so long. For the past 2 years, she had always thought she understood me, was able to easily grasp my thoughts and actions, and the reality was just as she had predicted. The 99 previous confessions all ended smoothly. She thought that everything would end at the 100th time, that there would be a perfect ending between her and me. As a result, at the moment when she was most confident, I used a public way to deal her a fatal blow. She could no longer maintain her cold and calm appearance, completely revealing her nature. She gripped the handrail, her voice hasty and mixed with panic. "He's not in the country, he's not in the country." Not minding Ashley's expression, the club president gave a triumphant smile and raised his hand, making the motion of a bird flapping its wings. "After confessing, of course he's flying away." Ashley instinctively felt that he was lying to her, but hearing the last two words, her heart seemed to stop beating for a few seconds. Flying away? What did he mean? She suddenly had an ominous premonition. Pushing aside the guys who were blocking her, she ran to the rooftop. The rooftop was empty, there was no one there. The stairs and the elevator were full of people. I couldn't have gotten down. Isn't he coming to school today? Realizing this, the memories in Ashley's mind replayed like a fast-forward movie. She came to school around 8:30 a.m., left home at 8 a.m., chose her clothes at 7:30 a.m. From this moment, recalling the last time she saw me downstairs last night, she finally discovered the problem. I had planned all of this. I should have left home early to prepare, but from last night, the room across the hall didn't make any noise. Either I left home after her, or I didn't plan on coming to school at all. I had spent so much effort to get revenge on her, yet wasn't able to witness everything with my own eyes. Why on earth was this happening? Ashley didn't understand. She clutched her pounding chest, suddenly feeling like something was rapidly losing ground in her body. She was terrified, uneasy, but unable to save it. Class was starting, and the crowd in the composite building was finally dispersed. Ashley was helped downstairs by her friends. As soon as she saw 7 or 8 sanitation workers sweeping up the scraps of paper on the ground, she stared blankly. She bent down to pick up a card that had been stepped on and was full of footprints. Seeing the words on it, her mood changed again. The initial anger and surprise had turned into endless panic and horror, a sense that everything had spiraled out of control, heading in a direction she couldn't foresee. And the fear of facing even stronger blows in the future. Her friends were seeing her display this kind of expression for the first time. They tried to find ways to comfort her. It's okay, Ashley. Ethan's just probably still angry about being criticized last time. Just go home and explain it clearly to him, say everything you've hidden in your heart. He likes you so much, he'll definitely forgive you. That's right. He chased you for 2 years and confessed 99 times already, just coax him a little and it'll be fine. Although everyone was advising in a positive direction, Ashley felt a foreboding. This time was different from before. She couldn't suppress that feeling of unease, and didn't want to hear them chattering in her ears anymore. In her turmoil, she drove straight back to the apartment. She parked the car. Just as she reached the entrance of the apartment complex, she saw a sanitation worker cleaning the trash can. She suddenly remembered the scene last night, seeing me squatting on the ground burning something. At that time, she felt that I was a little different, but didn't ask the reason clearly. Now she wanted to see what I had burned, but the sanitation worker had already replaced the new trash can and drove away. Ashley could only take the elevator upstairs. As the elevator doors opened, she was blocked by several large suitcases at the door. The delivery man, seeing that she couldn't get out, hurriedly apologized and moved the luggage to the side. She guessed that these must be the new neighbors moving in. Remembering that my legs hadn't fully recovered, she intended to remind me to be careful when going out, and also find me to talk. But just as she reached the door of her house, she saw that the door to the opposite room was ajar. She raised her hand to knock on the door. It was very quiet inside, with no movement. The prolonged silence made Ashley frown. She intended to push the door open to see, when suddenly, a boy's voice rang out from behind. Are you the neighbor across the hall? Hi, I'm the new mover, 1705, nice to meet you. Hearing this set of numbers, Ashley instinctively looked up at the number on the door. In the next second, she stood there like a statue. The delivery man, pushing the suitcase, enthusiastically introduced himself, but Ashley didn't hear a word. She suddenly turned around, staring at him, pointing at the number 805 on the left. 805, the new mover? Then where's the person who was here before? The delivery man wiped the sweat from his face, his expression cheerful. The real estate agent said he moved out this morning. Do you know him? Can you give me his contact information? He seemed to be in a hurry to leave. This apartment was sold at a very low price, I almost snatched it up. I still want to thank him. These few words made Ashley's head spin. She was stunned for a moment, then suddenly reacted, pushing the door open. The room was empty. Other than the usual furniture, there were no personal belongings. It was as clean as a new house. The delivery man didn't notice her face gradually turn pale, and still smiled brightly. "It's so clean," the real estate agent said. That man spent 3 days cleaning. Because it wasn't convenient to take, he left a lot of things behind. Ashley didn't know how she got back home. When she came to her senses, she found herself sitting on the floor in the entrance, her legs numb and lost all feeling. She was like she had just been pulled out of the water, her whole body wet with sweat. Her wet clothes were stuck to her body, bone-chilling cold, making her tremble. She took out her phone, found my WeChat, and shakily typed a few words. "Why did you move out?" Just as she pressed send, a small red dot and 2 lines of words appeared on the screen: "Not friends." That dazzling red dot made her eyes dull for a few seconds. Then, disbelieving, she stubbornly sent a few more messages, but the same notification kept appearing. Looking at the phone screen, she almost couldn't breathe. She tightened her neck, her face quickly turning red. Just when she was about to suffocate, the phone rang. Only then did she let go and answer the phone. But from the other end of the line came a terrifying scream from her roommate. "Ashley. Something's wrong. Ethan, he's gone to Italy." The next words felt like thunder in a clear sky, creating a strong storm inside Ashley. She tried to reach out for support, but her frozen legs wouldn't respond and she fell forward. The contact to the face with the floor and the fall of a cell phone. The crash echoed and her friends were screaming. "What's happening?" and calling people. Everything faded as if she were drowning for one last thought. Ethan would never like her. Ashley was severely injured. Although she managed to save her life, she still had to lie in the intensive care unit. When she woke up again, it was 3 days later. Her friends were sitting by her hospital bed. Everyone breathed a sigh of relief, then recounted the events that had happened during the days Ashley was in a coma. According to the information they had found, Ethan had gone to Italy 3 days ago, but had not yet completed the enrollment procedures. They said that after the list was announced, someone had gone to the school to accuse him of cheating on the recent exam, so his study abroad opportunity had been revoked. If the study abroad opportunity is revoked, he will definitely have to come back. "Ashley, don't worry, he won't be able to escape." Hearing this, Ashley's heart pounded, her eyes wide with shock. He went to Italy? Cheated on the exam? The study abroad opportunity was revoked? Coming back? She hadn't yet recovered when she receiving this massive amount of information. There was a knock at the door. One of her friends ran to open it. The remaining 3 turned to see Professor Thompson, a well-known figure at Stanford, enter with a stern expression. He glanced at the person in the hospital bed, his imposing presence making it difficult to look him in the eye. "You're Ashley Stone. I heard the cheating incident involving Ethan and Josh was due to your testimony. I want to talk to you." Hearing this, her friends didn't dare to linger and quickly left the room. Watching the door slowly close, Ashley slightly lifted her chin. "Yes," she acknowledged. The professor's face immediately showed anger, his voice intentionally louder. "Ethan told me that you gave false testimony. A big matter like this, and you dared to fabricate it. Do you know how this will affect his future? Because of this cheating accusation, he might have his exchange scholarship revoked. The university is debating whether or not to expel him to quell the rumors. Once the document is issued, plus the gossip on the internet that you started last time, his whole life will be ruined in your hands. He likes you. But think about it, has he done anything wrong to you in the past 2 years? Do you hate him so much that you have to drive him into a corner? If you have any conscience left, quickly go to the university and clarify the truth. Otherwise, not only him but also me and the entire design department will be ruined because of your lie." Hearing these words, Ashley's head was buzzing, and her heart was suddenly in a panic. At that time, she was only angry that I didn't choose her during the club gathering. She was still pouting, wanting to force me to beg her, so she lied to Mr. Jones. She didn't expect it to cause such a large chain reaction, much less imagine what would happen if everything went as Professor Thompson predicted. If she really ruined my future, then, with my personality, I might hate her for the rest of my life. The lover becoming the enemy was something Ashley couldn't accept. Ignoring the injury on her forehead, she struggled to sit up, wanting to go to the university with Professor Thompson to clarify the truth. Just as they were about to leave the door, they were stopped by the medical staff. The doctors wouldn't let her leave, constantly trying to dissuade her, but she didn't listen to a word, resolutely returning to the university. Professor Thompson had contacted the person in charge of the disciplinary department beforehand. Ashley admitted in front of the head of the design department and Mr. Jones that Josh was the one who cheated. Josh didn't expect her to suddenly turn her back on him, and panicked, hurrying to say it wasn't him. Mr. Jones also didn't expect her to change her statement, not knowing who to believe. Ashley coldly looked at Josh, who was trembling, took out a photo from her phone. "This is a letter Josh wrote to me before. Later, my family will bring the original. Everyone can compare the handwriting on the letter and on the cheat sheet." Hearing this, Josh's face contorted, muttering a few words before falling silent, trembling under the stern gaze of the leaders. "Ashley, I'm Josh. Don't you remember? We grew up together. All of this is past. Why are you lying?" Seeing that Josh was still denying it even with clear evidence, a hint of disgust flashed in Ashley's eyes. "I've never liked you. All that before was just acting. Now, I don't want to act anymore. Of course, I won't protect you anymore. If you did it, you have to take responsibility for your actions." As soon as she finished speaking, the Stone family brought the original. After comparing the handwriting, it was indeed Josh's. The disciplinary department immediately made a decision to announce the truth to the entire school. Because of causing a bad influence, Josh was expelled and this was recorded in his file. With everything resolved, it was already dark. Ashley supported herself and called Professor Thompson back. "Professor, does he know what happened domestically?" Although everything had been resolved smoothly, Professor Thompson was still angry, looking at Ashley with disapproval. "He's about to graduate and you haven't lost your brain yet, huh?" Being scolded like this, Ashley was even more uncomfortable, but she still wanted to explain. "Now that everything has been resolved, will he come back?" Professor Thompson glanced at her, his voice full of pride. "This scholarship is only given to one person in the entire design department. He earned it with his strength. After studying in Italy for 3 years, his future is bright. Why would he come back? Moreover, with a person like you at Stanford, it's better if he doesn't come back. Knowing that he was bewitched by you, I should have advised him to choose his girlfriend carefully." Elsewhere, I received Professor Thompson's call reporting that everything was all right while sunbathing on the beach. I didn't know how he managed to get Ashley to tell the truth, and I didn't want to know. I just sincerely expressed my gratitude to the teacher. Professor Thompson gave me a few more words of advice, then hurried off to a meeting. I breathed in the sea air, drank a sip of fruit juice, and relaxed on the beach. 3 days ago, I came to Italy, originally intending to complete the enrollment procedures right away. But the school called back to verify the situation in my country, and then suddenly announced that there was a problem with my scholarship and I couldn't complete the procedures for the time being. I asked my new roommate and learned that someone had secretly accused me. I went to Professor Thompson to clarify the truth and ask for his help. Although Professor Thompson was a well-known figure at Stanford, I also knew that this matter was difficult to clarify, so I was prepared to face the storm. I had to say that since meeting Ashley, my ability to handle pressure had increased significantly. Now, facing the serious consequences of potentially being expelled, I could calmly face it, no longer caring. I even had the mood to buy a plane ticket to the Amalfi Coast to vacation. Now that everything had been resolved, I completely relaxed, calculating when to go back and finish the procedures. I was looking at plane tickets when the dorm group suddenly showed a message. "Professor Thompson just said Ashley came to the dorm looking for us, wanting to ask for your contact information. She said she wanted to apologize." We won't fall for her trap, don't worry, we didn't reveal a word. You don't know how haggard she is now. Her head is still bandaged. I heard she was in the intensive care unit a few days ago. She definitely had it coming. Seeing these gleeful and hateful words, I recalled the scene of Ashley being rejected when she asked for my new phone number. I smiled, humming, and sent a large red envelope to the group chat. Thank you everyone for your help during this time. Everything has been resolved smoothly. When I return to the country in 3 years, I'll treat you all to a meal and personally express my gratitude. My roommates knew I was generous, so they weren't polite and all accepted the red envelope. I was also very happy to have such good friends and teachers. After booking a plane ticket back to Milan, I stretched and stood up, walking on the soft sand towards the hotel. The waves behind me kept crashing against the shore, seagulls perched on sun umbrellas, and the warm sunshine made people feel warm. The weather today was really nice. This time, the process of completing the procedures went very smoothly, without any problems. I looked at the documents that had been stamped and my new student ID, breaking into a satisfied smile. The staff asked if I wanted to live in the dormitory or find an apartment myself. Because I didn't like the complicated environment of the dormitory for international students, before coming, I had asked my family to buy a small apartment near the school. I immediately pulled my suitcase there. Arriving, I looked at the steps in front of me and tried to lift the heavy suitcase. Sighing, I was about to spend money to hire someone to help when suddenly, a girl's pleasant voice rang out beside me. I followed the sound and saw a beautiful young woman with blonde hair and blue eyes asking me in English if I needed help. I quickly nodded, and the beautiful girl helped me carry the suitcase upstairs. Walking and chatting, after the two introduced their names, I sincerely thanked her. But she showed her reddened hand to me, smiling and saying, "Just saying thank you isn't enough. If it's all right with you, can I have your phone number?" I was stunned for a moment, then quickly regained my senses and rummaged in my pocket, but couldn't find a business card anywhere. I could only say sorry apologetically. The beautiful girl said it was okay and, taking out a pen from who knows where, held her hand to me. "Then please write your phone number on my hand." I hesitated for a few seconds, then took the pen and wrote a long string of numbers on her slender, jade-like hand. After moving into the new apartment, I was busy for several days arranging my belongings. One evening, I received a message that all the exchange students this semester had completed the registration procedures and a welcoming ceremony would be held tomorrow at the auditorium. I remembered the time and woke up early the next morning, leaving the house. Although these days I often went for walks around the school in my free time, because the school was too big and the buildings looked too similar, I still got lost. It was almost time. I was about to ask someone for directions when the phone rang, an unfamiliar number. After thinking for a few seconds, I still answered it. A familiar voice rang in my ear, but I couldn't remember who it was. While pondering, someone suddenly patted me on the shoulder from behind. I turned around and saw Alice, the beautiful girl who had helped me the other day, smiling and greeting me. Still holding the phone to my ear, I realized that this was her number, a look of surprise on my face. The two high-fived. Alice asked what I was thinking about. I honestly told her about my predicament. Hearing me mention the auditorium, she said she was planning to go there too and could show me the way. Without any hesitation, I followed her, walking through the maze-like academy. Walking and chatting happily, 10 or so minutes later, Alice pointed to the building in front of me and said we had arrived. I took out my phone to look at it. It was indeed the same as the picture the classmate had sent me. I quickly thanked Alice. The welcoming ceremony lasted 2 hours. When I left the auditorium, my back ached. I was thinking about where to eat when suddenly, someone appeared in front of me. It was Alice, smiling and greeting me, asking if I had any plans for lunch. Not yet. I'm still racking my brains about it. Seeing my concern, she smiled and introduced me to a restaurant, inviting me to go with her. I agreed and followed her out of the school. Reaching the entrance of the restaurant, I realized that it was a Chinese restaurant. A hint of doubt flashed in my eyes. "You want to take me to eat Chinese food?" Can you even eat spicy food? I heard that Westerners aren't used to the food here. I hope to have a good meal today and also want to try Chinese food, that's why I chose this restaurant. I didn't expect her to be so thoughtful and didn't want to go against her kind intentions, so I smiled. Then let's go in. Consider me the host today, let me treat you, hoping to bring you a great Chinese culinary experience. Chatting, the two of us walked into the restaurant and found a place to sit. I picked up the menu. Seeing that she was very interested in the dishes, I introduced each dish to her, then ordered 5 dishes. Because of her lively and polite personality, the meal was very enjoyable. The two of us talked about the cultural differences between the East and the West, then talked about interesting things recently happening at school, quickly becoming close. After lunch, Alice saw me back to my apartment. Parting, Alice revealed a regretful expression, politely extending a final invitation. Can I invite you to afternoon tea this weekend? The weekend weather will be nice, I happily accepted the invitation. Talking with Alice at the garden cafe, a flock of white doves flew to the lake, a feather gently fell on Ashley's hair. Seeing this, Ashley smiled and stood up, intending to help me take it down. The two of us were standing too close together, looking very intimate from afar. I looked up, my eyes full of smiles and words of thanks, but then my eyes froze. The woman standing at the entrance, her face bandaged and her expression haggard, looked very much like Ashley. Before I could get a good look, the woman angrily stepped forward, her head lowered, her red eyes looking down at the dessert table, her gaze darting back and forth between the two of us. Who is she? Hearing this familiar voice, I was sure that it was Ashley. Although I didn't know why she knew I was here, I wasn't surprised by her appearance. I knew that one day she would find me. After all, in Ashley's eyes, I was prey within her grasp, she would never let me escape her sight. I had prepared for this meeting, so facing her bad attitude, I was still very calm. New acquaintance, is there a problem? Acquaintance? Girlfriend? Ashley said, grinding her teeth. She didn't expect that she would travel and be so injured to come and work things out with me and discover that I was dating another woman. She'd been abroad for just a few days, and already has a new love? Wasn't she obsessed with me for 2 years? Hasn't she confessed 99 times without giving up? Wasn't she going to confess on the 100th attempt? Why did you stop? Realizing this, the fire in Ashley's heart burned even more fiercely. I didn't give her a chance to bring up the past, directly interrupting. Chasing you wasn't exactly something to be proud of. Now forgotten, so what? Besides this face, you don't have anything special. I'm bored, wanting to change the taste, do I have to ask your permission too? These few words left Ashley speechless. She looked at me in disbelief, her eyes full of suspicion. Ethan, what have you been through these days? We clearly had a thing. I've been doing very well these days. Eating well, sleeping well, thanks to you. I even had time to travel. But your sudden appearance is making me a little uncomfortable. If you understand what I mean, then please leave this cafe. Honestly, you're disturbing my meal with a beautiful woman. I said in a relaxed tone, my expression nonchalant. This cold attitude made Ashley's already pale face turn even paler. She now realized that everything had truly spiraled out of her control. She became even more agitated, grabbing my hand and stuttering, "It was my fault before. I shouldn't have taken advantage of your sincerity. Sorry, Ethan, can you forgive me and give me another chance?" To me, this apology was fake and didn't have any sincerity. I had been rejected in front of everyone 99 times, she just had to say one sorry and could erase everything? How ridiculous. Looking at her trembling hand, I frowned, my voice sarcastic. I don't dare to accept the school's queen bee's apology. Rest assured, from now on, we'll just be strangers. You don't need to worry that I'll be chasing after you anymore. Seeing the determination in my eyes, Ashley knew I wasn't joking. She panicked, subconsciously gripping my hand so tightly that I frowned. Alice, not understanding our conversation, initially thought we were friends greeting each other. Seeing that the situation wasn't right, she quickly stood up, intending to help me escape from Ashley. This action, to Ashley, who was already angry, was a provocation. Without thinking, she pushed Alice away. Alice staggered back a few steps. Ashley coldly glanced at her a few times, then pulled me away. Alice, holding onto the wall to steady herself, seeing that I was resisting, rushed forward and slapped Ashley. The two immediately started fighting. The originally peaceful garden suddenly became chaotic, with tables and chairs falling all over the place, and the flower pots beside them also being knocked over. Many guests were afraid of being affected, so they fled. The owner upstairs immediately called the police. Located in the center of the city, the police arrived very quickly, pulling the two fighters apart, taking both of them to the station. The bandage on Ashley's forehead was torn, revealing the wound. The police, seeing this, were startled, instinctively assuming that Alice was bullying a sick person. Alice tried hard to get this up. During this explanation, Ashley refused to give in, insisting that Alice had started it. The two argued for a long time, nearly deafening the police officer, who still couldn't figure out who was in the right. In desperation, he had to turn to the third person, the only witness at the scene. "Could you please describe what happened?" Hearing this question, both simultaneously turned to me with pleading eyes. Since they started fighting, I had avoided it and kept quiet. Now, I couldn't stay out of it anymore. Without hesitation, I pointed directly at Ashley, without blinking. She started it and pushed her. Hearing this, Ashley froze in place, unable to believe that I would accuse her. She stared at me, her voice trembling. I only pushed her, she clearly hit first." "Ethan, why would you say that?" Ashley suddenly fell silent, a light flashing in her mind. She realized why I said that. I was retaliating, wanting to let her taste the feeling of being wronged. Realizing this, she was speechless, feeling a lump in her throat. The police officer, not understanding Chinese, asked me to translate. I directly denied any relationship between us. I was having dinner with her, and that woman barged in and caused a disturbance, disregarding my opinion and trying to force me to leave. Then she pushed someone, so they fought. The last bit of hope in Ashley's heart completely shattered. Her mouth opened, her voice hoarse and helpless. "From now on, you'll never be on my side?" I glanced at her, smiling coldly. "I'm an honest person, and I only stand on the side of the truth." Ashley was still unwilling, asking, then, if today, she had pushed me first, would you have told the truth? "Need you even ask? I don't know you from Adam and Eve. Alice is someone I'm much closer to, and she appears more sensible. Naturally, I would back my friend." Saying this, I didn't bother caring about her expression, turned around, and left. With my statement, plus the surveillance footage being investigated quickly, the truth was soon revealed. Ashley was detained for disturbing public order. I waited for Alice to come out, apologizing to her again. She waved her hand, not caring about the minor injuries, instead saying that since today's date was interrupted, she wanted to invite me out next week. I thought about it carefully. Although Alice was very beautiful, from today's incident, it seemed that she wasn't rational or sensible enough. I knew Ashley wouldn't give up easily and didn't want to involve Alice, and didn't want to prolong this any further. I guessed that she was hinting at something, but now I wouldn't act on impulse. Therefore, in the end, I still declined. Ashley had to use a lot of connections to get bailed out. She wandered the streets, not knowing where to go. Thinking of what had happened, she felt like her heart was being burned, in great pain. Regret surged like a tidal wave, completely submerging her. She really wanted to go back to the time I confessed for the 99th time, agreeing immediately and expressing her feelings. That way, there wouldn't be these waves. I also wouldn't give up on her and we could become a couple. But the cold wind and night rain awakened her from her dream. She looked at the ceaseless rain, finally realizing that everything was beyond saving. Even so, she still didn't want to give up. She had secretly loved me for 2 years, waiting for 2 years, and didn't allow her hope to shatter. She swore she would find every way to pursue me again, just like I had once pursued her, using 100 times, 1000x her sincerity to exchange for my forgiveness. If I would give her one chance to be the girl and I could have a chance with Ethan, just one chance would be enough. In the following half-month, I didn't see Ashley, and life returned to normal. Alice asked me out twice, and I declined both times. The relationship between the two also gradually faded. I wasn't sad about this fleeting relationship, focusing on studying and social activities. Life was very fulfilling away from home. I also knew how to cook, so I quickly integrated into the international student community. Just when I had almost forgotten about Ashley, she suddenly appeared, bringing several cars filled with roses and balloons, blocking my way at school. Seeing the curious eyes around me, I didn't know what to say. Ashley didn't care about my expression, seizing the opportunity to say the words hidden in her heart. "Ethan, if I also pursue you 100 times, will you agree to give me another chance?" If it was me from a few months ago, hearing this, I would definitely be moved to tears. But now, I was not only indifferent but also felt goosebumps. The script was so cliché, the words so cheesy. Was I possessed before? How could I have done those confessions in front of so many people so many times? Thinking about the past, I no longer felt any heartache, only embarrassment. If I had a chance to turn back time, I would definitely try my best to advise myself not to fall in love with Ashley at first sight and expose her true face, and wouldn't be so foolish for so long. 2 years, more than 700 days, wasted on someone who didn't deserve it. What a pity. I was still regretting it when I didn't hear Ashley say anything. Waiting for a while without getting a response from me, Ashley became even more flustered, becoming restless and anxious. She looked around, wanting to see what she had done wrong, but after inspecting everything, she couldn't find any fault. She could only look at me anxiously, but as soon as she lowered her head, I avoided her gaze, turning to wave at someone in the distance, my voice full of surprise. "June, Lily, Sean, what are you guys doing here?" She followed my gaze and noticed that I was greeting other people. My indifferent attitude made Ashley feel like she was falling into an abyss, her face becoming extremely ugly. She tried to say a few words to attract my attention. "Ethan, I haven't finished." Before she could finish speaking, the girl named Lily stepped forward, her voice familiar. "We're planning to go camping, Ethan, do you want to come along? The weather's nice, and there's nothing to do this weekend." With a big problem in front of me, I had no reason to refuse, so I happily agreed. Sean, anticipating that I would agree, readily took the bag from my hand. I didn't refuse, handing the bag to him and smiling, asking him about the plans for tonight. Neither of them bothered to look at Ashley, talking to each other, joining the camping group. Seeing the figures of a row of people gradually disappearing, Ashley's face was ghastly white. She clenched her fists, looking at Lily with an unwilling and jealous gaze. Ashley followed us to the outskirts of town. From across the river, she could clearly see what was happening on the other side. A group of 8 international students gathered, grilling meat, chatting, and playing games. It looked very happy. She couldn't integrate into it, only able to watch from afar. But the more she watched, the more uncomfortable she felt. No matter what I did, the girl named Lily was always by my side. The distance between the two of us was never more than 10 steps, and it was getting closer and closer. This intimate attitude was different from others. Ashley looked on jealously, wishing she could rush over and pull me away right now. But she knew that if she did that, she would definitely make me angry. She didn't want the relationship between us to continue to deteriorate, so she couldn't do anything more to fuel the fire. She could only swallow the complicated emotions burning in her heart, telling herself to be patient. This patience lasted 6 hours. As night gradually fell, a bonfire flickered on the other side of the river, and the party was lively. Perhaps because it was too noisy and I wasn't used to it, I went to the riverbank alone to get some air. Ashley seized the opportunity, going to my side and calling me back. "Ethan, there's something I want to tell you." My mood today was very good, but seeing her still didn't please me. "Sorry, I don't want to hear." After saying this, I intended to leave. Ashley hurriedly grabbed my hand, her eyes full of earnestness. Just a few minutes, Ethan. There's something I've wanted to tell you for a long time. Hearing this, I finally looked up at her, my face puzzled. For a long time? What thing? It can't be that thunderbolt of love from 2 years ago, right? In the end, my voice still carried sarcasm. Ashley was struck by lightning, standing frozen in place. She didn't expect to hear these words from my mouth, words that she thought she had hidden very well. I didn't care about her mood, the mocking smile on my face growing even wider. Ashley, think about it. Would anyone, including you, believe those words? Who would hide their secret feelings for 2 whole years without revealing a single flaw? Who would reject the confession of someone they secretly loved 99 times because of their pride? Who would push the person they liked to the opposite side in every difficult and painful situation? Is this love? It's hatred, more like it. Hearing my ridicule, Ashley only felt her head buzzing, empty. She tried to deny everything, but in the end couldn't say a word to defend herself, only uttering meaningless words. It's not like that, Ethan, I really like you. Everyone around me knows, they can vouch for me. Even if you know, then what do I care who the heck is liking you? It's fine from my angle, the person you like from beginning to end has always been Sean. You should go find him to express your feelings, you two really match, from beginning to end, you only made me disgusted. My undisguised expression of disgust was the final straw for Ashley. Her body trembled non-stop, but she still wouldn't let go of my hand, stubbornly wanting to keep me. I had no patience to entangle with her anymore. Pulling my hand away, I turned to leave. The moment our hands separated, she felt like she was about to lose everything, her heart aching. She lost all her strength, staggering as if about to fall. I acted as if I didn't see it, quickly walking towards the crowd, not turning my head. I thought that as long as I made everything clear, Ashley would give up, but I quickly realized that this person's brain wouldn't listen to anything, saying anything was useless. In the following months, every time I went out, I would always see her within a 20-meter radius. Every few days, she would bring flowers and fruit to my face, saying she wanted to confess. Once, twice, 3 times, I didn't even remember how many times it was anymore. Facing her stubbornness, I remained indifferent, trying to act like I didn't see her, or called security to drive her away on the grounds of disturbing public order. Just like that, the whole school knew about Ashley, and they also knew about her stalking me. So, wherever she went, there would be people pointing and gossiping, but she didn't care, only single-mindedly chasing after my back. She thought that as long as she persisted, there would come a day when she would move me, but the reality far exceeded her imagination. Not only was I not moved at all, but I also accepted gifts from other girls right in front of her. I was handsome, had a good personality, and my family was rich. As soon as I appeared, I attracted everyone's attention, with no shortage of admirers around me. Before, to reassure her, I resolutely refused the feelings of other girls, with all my heart facing her. But now, I didn't refuse anyone except her. No matter who gave me flowers, I would smile and accept them, saying thank you, as if deliberately provoking her. Ashley could only watch me and the other genders get closer and closer, but she couldn't do anything. Between us, it was just an ordinary school relationship. She had no right to interfere with my freedom of association. This was something that I had said straight to her after she lost control due to being drunk and hit a girl who gave me flowers. As time passed, although the handprint had faded, these words were branded in her heart, becoming a mantra on her head, a needle stabbing into her body, making her remember vividly, unable to forget. Gradually, Ashley began to get used to the fact that I was surrounded by people. She also had to admit that I was right, I was never just hers. After being rejected time after time, she gradually became hardened. No matter how harsh my words were, no matter how cold my gaze was, she no longer felt any pain. She counted the number of times from 1 to 50, from winter to spring, then to early summer. She thought that life would just go on quietly like this from 50 to 100, maybe there would even be a 101st time. Ashley never intended to give up. Just when she thought she could calmly face everything, an accident happened. I held a girl's hand, appearing in front of her, smiling and saying to everyone around, "This is my girlfriend." At that moment, Ashley felt like the sky was falling. She always thought I was just flirting with other girls to provoke her, never thinking about the day I would agree to be with someone else. And when this day happened before her eyes, she went crazy, rushing straight to me, intending to ask for an explanation, but before she could get close, she was blocked by the security guard who was patrolling. Separated by a wall of people, she screamed, her eyes red. "Why?" My gaze paused on her for a second, then I said indifferently, "I'm young, rich, and have a lot of free time. What's wrong with dating a beautiful woman? What does it have to do with you?" Ashley was devastated. She went to a bar and drank alone, drunk every night. No one cared. Waking up each morning, looking around at the emptiness, she was submerged in pain. The loneliness in a foreign land, the pain of unrequited love, all became needles stabbing into her heart, unable to erase it. Sometimes, when she was too drunk, she would have the intention of coming to find me, begging me to break up. But every time she got close to me, seeing me and my girlfriend hand in hand, smiling and talking, she no longer had the courage to take another step. Ashley had known me for 2 years but had never seen me smile so happily. Because the days we were together couldn't even be called normal, but more accurately, they were unforgettable days of pain. Just seeing me with someone else, she was already in so much pain. Then what were my feelings during those days when I saw her and Sean together? Today, Ashley could finally understand, but everything was too late. She didn't listen to the advice of her friends and family, resolutely staying in Milan to wait for an ending. Long, painful days passed. When the summer heat passed, Ashley finally heard the news that I had broken up. Initially, she didn't dare to believe it. Until she heard people mention it many times, did she dare to reveal the joy she had been suppressing for so long, smiling and going to find me, wanting to comfort me. But everything was contrary to her expectations. I didn't show any sadness, and the way I looked at her was no different from the past few months, like looking at air. The smile on Ashley's face froze. She probed, asking, "Are you sad?" For me, this relationship really started with the face. I was only fascinated by her beauty, so I dated for a few months. Now, seeing it too much, I find it a bit boring. Just when she wanted to go back to the country, I took the opportunity to propose breaking up. A little bit, but not much. So, after breaking up, other than initially feeling a bit empty, I quickly regained my spirits. Therefore, when I heard Ashley suddenly ask this question, I found it a bit perplexing. I looked at her for a moment, finally giving a polite smile. We broke up peacefully. She was the one who suggested it. What's there to be sad about? Hearing this, Ashley was slightly relieved, but immediately, she was choked by my cold words. Moreover, even if I was sad, compared to what I experienced 2 years ago, is it even worth mentioning? You weren't the one who witnessed everything firsthand. Why pretend to pity me? The last few sarcastic words made Ashley's face flush, wanting to explain. But I didn't give her the opportunity. As for that year, I can explain, Ethan. Enough. Don't say any more. Ashley, stop acting in front of me. I'm no longer interested in your act of 3 parts coldness, 3 parts heartlessness, and 4 parts indifference. If you're bored, then go back to your hometown, find Sean and your friends. They will surely be willing to appease you. These few words made Ashley's face turn beet red, no longer daring to open her mouth. I pushed her away, walking straight into the teaching building. Now that the love story was over, it was time to focus on studying. I had promised Professor Thompson that I would achieve good grades to repay his kindness. Having gone through so many things, Ashley was no longer swayed by my words. She even regained her spirits, preparing to continue confessing from the 50th to the 99th time. From the end of summer to midwinter, facing her grand confessions, the dazzling fireworks, the drones flying in the sky of Milan, I had no reaction. I even felt lucky that I had corrected how everyone called me. Now, everyone called me by my English name, few knew that I was the person being confessed to. To this point, the confession methods that Ashley could think of had run out. After all, the previous 99 times hadn't been able to move me. She really had no other way. Finally, with the reminder of her friends, she thought of a way. For the 100th confession, she chose the small garden in the school. She arranged a giant domino display in the garden, recreating the scene of the first time we met. She used many star-shaped lights, hanging them on the branches, preparing to light candles in the garden at night, taking me back to the past in order to lure me in. Ashley had asked many people for help, preparing dozens of backup plans. This time, she would definitely make me understand that she had loved me at first sight and now had truly repented. Everything had been arranged properly, only an unexpected accident occurred. The appointment time came, but the protagonist didn't arrive. Those who were asked to help couldn't find me. All the backup plans failed. Seeing the confession that she had painstakingly prepared about to fall apart, Ashley completely lost control. She went crazy, driving everywhere to find me. The 9 p.m. alarm rang. The dark forest suddenly lit up with countless lights, balloons soaring into the sky, petals and feathers falling, and melodious piano music echoing in the forest. The constant clatter was the sound of the dominoes automatically falling. 1 second, one piece, lasting more than 10 minutes. The moment the last domino fell, all the candles were lit. The flickering candlelight illuminated the vivid image of a pair of dancing swans on the ground. All the surprises had been carried out, but Ashley felt like all the strength in her body had been drained. She leaned against the flower trellis, sweat pouring down her forehead, her eyes listless. Because the position on the right, the special position reserved for the male lead, was empty. I didn't come to her 100th confession, just like I didn't come to my 100th confession, which was truly a separation. Ashley knew that I must have seen through her intentions, deliberately disappearing without a trace. And the reality was just as she predicted. After everything had settled down, her phone rang. Opening it, it was an unfamiliar international call, but as soon as she answered, she recognized the familiar voice, the sound of the sea waves crashing on the shore, and a quiet laugh. "I heard you were planning to confess for the 100th time tonight. Too bad I'm not in Milan right now." "Sorry." Ashley's cold heart, after hearing this familiar voice, kindled a sliver of hope. She swallowed the pain and unwillingness in her heart, pretending to be calm and replying, "It's okay, I'm already very happy that you called. As long as you want, I can prepare for the 101st confession." Her voice carried a hint of expectation, as if she had already dreamed of me forgiving her. I didn't want to create that illusion. I looked at the churning sea in front of me, the warm sunlight shining on my body, my voice cheerful. "No need. Today, I called just to inform you of 2 things." Ashley was startled, the hand holding the phone clenching, her eyes flashing, unsure whether it was the hope that had just sprouted or the candlelight flickering. "First, I want to remind you, it's winter now, the weather is dry. If you're done, then blow out the candles in the garden, lest it cause a fire." Hearing this, Ashley raised her head and saw a dry leaf falling, twirling in the air. "Second, I want to tell you some good news, I have a new girlfriend. She's even more beautiful than the previous one. You can stop at the 100th confession now." A few simple words fell into Ashley's ears like countless echoes, ringing in her head. She was like being hypnotized, these words repeating in her head. A sharp pain spread from her forehead. In the intense pain, she lost all her strength, the phone falling from her hand, falling onto the candle holder. Unfortunately, in order to arrange and store these candle holders, they were tied together with rope. One candle fell, causing the surrounding candles to fall as well. The hot flame caught the dry leaves and feathers scattered on the ground, then spread to the wooden dominoes. The wind blew strongly, and in just a few seconds, the fire raged in the garden. Ashley's eyes reflected the raging flames. The cold on her body was also dispelled by the heat, but she had no intention of running or calling for help. She was like a statue, becoming a part of the garden. One night passed, the trees in the garden were all burned. Fortunately, there were no casualties. When preparing for this confession, in order to maintain secrecy, Ashley had spent money to chase away everyone around. At the time of the accident, there was only her around. The firefighters arrived in time, rescuing her who was about to suffocate from the smoke. Although she was lucky to escape death, the consequences of this impulsive action were impossible to erase. The fire made the Stanford University administration extremely angry, resolutely pursuing liability to the end. As the main suspect, Ashley was arrested by the police. The Stone family, after hearing the news, tried every means to save her, but this was an international case. Ashley had no way to escape punishment. In the end, the Stone family had to compensate almost all their assets, promising to compensate the school 10 times the value of the damage. Only then did Stanford agree to relent. Because of causing serious consequences, Ashley was sentenced to 6 months in prison, blacklisted by the EU, deported from Italy, and permanently barred from entry. As soon as she got out of prison, she was taken directly to the airport to return home. Seeing the people around her wearing summer clothes, Ashley felt like she had just experienced a dream, slowly waking up. So it was already summer. During